Plot: In the Dark, 2019. A young, blind woman tries to solve her friend's murder. The graduate, Jess, reluctantly agrees to let Murphy go alone with Max on a day trip. Murphy has a flashback of memories of Tyson. It's puppy graduation day at Guiding Hope. Jess and Joy realize they might have more in common than they thought. The feels. Murphy wants to feel the face of a dead body to determine if Tyson was actually dead when she found him. To do this, her and Jess visit Felix, whose uncle is on his deathbed. Dean starts dating Chelsea, the cute bartender, and Murphy misses her period. Tyson. Murphy, unable to deal with things, begins to push everyone away, including Max. Meanwhile, Murphy and Jess have a heart-to-heart. Voiceover off.
When you're blind and watching movies, what will you find? A blind superhero whose superpowers are acting like he's not blind. A sighted actor over-dramatically touching people's faces. And maybe the whole joke is that they're bumping into different places. A spectacular, macular generation. From tunnel vision to your television. And do they off this movie with audio descriptions? They're movie buffs who know their stuff. You'll be thoroughly entertained. Join Sky and Melissa throughout film history and Citizen White Cane.
Hello.
Hi.
And welcome to Citizen White Cane, the podcast that feels the faces of blind characters on screen. My name is Sky McLeod,
I'm Melissa Bukta.
and that's a good, pretty general one. You can use that all the time. It's what this entire show is about.
Yes.
But
Especially, it's a plot point in these 3 episodes that we watched, too.
Yes, a big plot point, which is why I figured this is the time to bring that one out. Yes, we have today. We're coming back to In the Dark, for another 3 episodes 4 through 6. I guess we can do a little bit of recapping from last episode if you're just tuning in now.
Sure. Yeah. If you're just tuning in now, I suggest going back and listening to episodes 1 through 3 of In the Dark, because this show has a whole lot of plot. But in a nutshell, basically, Murphy is our blind character, and she is trying to solve the murder of her dearest friend, Tyson.
Right.
That is basic plot.
Yes. and my shortcut is Veronica Mars, but blind.
Yes.
Which is very helpful if you've seen Veronica Mars. But then if you haven't, it does not very helpful at all. Yeah. Then, and it's kind of it's a lot of, I don't know, it's not a fish out of water, but do you know the show Bored to Death? I guess I'm just coming up with other shows. It's
I've heard of it. I have not watched it yet.
It's also like someone, because it's also very amateur PI stuff, but it's less emotionally driven.
Right. And I love a good mystery, and I'm kind of a sucker for these amateur PI things.
I know.
I really
me
enjoy
too.
them.
It's just fun. It's it's a very it's just one of those good, it's always a good plot construction to have a character that doesn't know what they're doing and is trying to solve a crime.
It just kind of makes you think, or hope, I suppose, that even you could do this.
Right, exactly.
even though deep down in my bones, I know I couldn't.
Yeah, it is. It definitely made me think about it. The one thing about this show is you have all these kind of amateur crime solving character shows. In this show, I want her to be more capable, I think. I don't know. There was something I thought about a lot in these 3 episodes, and I was trying to think about the other shows I've watched. I think some of the fun is just this person shouldn't be as good at figuring this out as they are. And I feel like for me, I enjoy that aspect of it. It's seeing someone very capable. It's kind of like an underdog story where someone's very capable, and they're not the person you expect. Like Veronica Mars is a high school girl, and so you're not expecting her to be as very capable at solving crimes as she is, and there is a very fun thing with that. And I feel like in this show, I just wish that it was the slightly alternate universe show where this was a very capable blind person figuring things out, because I don't know, she's just very bumbling. Do you feel like that's...
Yeah, she's she's a very bumbling is
It may be not the right
bumbling.
word.
I don't know if I'd go so far as bumbling, but Murphy is not, she's human. She's messed up. And I think it's about Murphy dealing with her own struggles on top of trying to solve this mystery. The show isn't just about the mystery. The show is also about Murphy trying to solve her own problems and overcome herself and all of these roadblocks that she's put in the way of growing as a new person.
Is she's the one putting the roadblocks in the way, and I'm like, you don't have to do that. like it feels like I want the problems that she needs to solve to be like more systemic, because a lot of times I'm like, you just don't need to be this self-sabotaging. Like there's really not a good reason for it.
Well, I don't know. Maybe the writers thought that if she wasn't this character, that maybe that just wouldn't be a good enough hook for the show. I don't know. I didn't write this show, so I don't know.
Right, but it is that is a really interesting thing to think about, why they because I wonder if it's like TV.
It's very TV,
right?
Yeah.
Like that there's kind of more pressure to make a unlikable almost, or at least like kind of dysfunctional main character.
I don't know if I'd go so far as to say Murphy's unlikable. She can be sometimes. She can be, yes, she can be. Prickly, maybe, because I don't hate Murphy. I don't want her to not succeed. I get annoyed watching her with some of her shenanigans. These 3 episodes, I think there was definitely some points where I'm just, I cringed a little bit. The buffet scene in particular, I was very, very much watching that between my fingers.
Let's talk about that, because what we do in the dark, it's it is a TV show. It's very dense. We do 3 episodes, so there's always just a whole lot of stuff.
It's so hard. It's so hard to just go like plot point by plot point by plot point, because there's so much. But yeah, this is the first episode. Didn't silence my birdie.
I was like, did I just whistle somehow? It was just such a.
No, it's my watch. But it's not going to do that anymore. Right.
Gonna keep that in because it's funny.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, good. my watch yells at me every 15 minutes so that I know what time it is, because if I don't know what time it is every second of the day, my universe will go spinning off into an abyss of unknowing.
That makes sense.
I can't deal with that.
You need to keep it on in the podcast so people will know how much I've edited out. They'll be like, wait a second, that just happened 5 minutes ago. What were they talking about for 10 minutes? That's not in this. Anyway.
But yeah, so the buffet scene at the end of the first episode, am I doing that right, or was it the second episode?
It's of the ones we watched, it's the end of the first episode we watched, which is the 4th episode.
Okay, 4th episode, yes. So they are on a road trip because Murphy got a lead on Tyson's case, Jamie, who Murphy suspects is a girl that Tyson was cheating on.
Right.
So she and Max book it to Wisconsin to try and follow this lead. And of course, Jess doesn't want Murphy to go because she's with food truck guy Max, who Jess sucks, and Jess doesn't really trust much, which is totally fair. Absolutely.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah. Plus, she is supposed to be at Guiding Hope for the puppy graduation.
Yeah.
So
I'm realizing definitely listen to the first episode. There's so much stuff.
There's because I was like, should I explain what Guiding Hope is? And I was like, no, because then we'll be here for hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. If you're as lost as we sound, you should go back and listen to the first episode.
And it is worth it. I think it's fun, even if you don't want to watch the show. I do think these are fun discussions. It's just you kind of have to listen to them in order. Mm-hmm. But the TV shows will get less listeners, so I do think these are really fun episodes. And they're worth listening to. It's just you have to listen to them in order.
There's lots of backstory.
Yeah, exactly.
So Murphy's supposed to be at puppy graduation, which of course she's not going to make because she's going to take this day trip with food truck guy Max, and they they make it to Jamie's house. We find out that Jamie is actually Tyson's dad. So they have that conversation, and then they shenanigans ensue, but they end at a restaurant. Max takes her out to get food because she's hungry, and they're being served drinks, and of course Murphy's probably had a little too much maybe,
right?
And the waitress is like, yeah, it's a buffet. And Murphy freaks out. And I did the same. Like, my stomach dropped because buffets are terrifying.
They're horrible.
Buffets are so scary. I don't understand the appeal.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It's awful.
I hate them so much. I have to have someone, and I've been to many buffets. Not of my own volition, but my college Commons was a buffet.
I know.
That's
I just
how
think
you
about
ate.
how in college you couldn't get food without it being, and
Right.
it was such a fucking nightmare.
The only thing that got me through is because none of the food spots changed, so I just memorized where everything was.
Right.
So,
but did they not change the items?
there was the actual kitchen. So my Commons was divided up into stations. So you have like pizza corner,
Right.
and sandwich lane, and whatever. And
They all had to have names like that.
oh yeah, oh totally. And then you had like country kitchen, and country kitchen would change because that was where the main course was. But once you memorized like the other 4 stations, you kind of sort of
Right.
got the flow of things.
That was probably similar
Anyway.
in our dining hall. Yeah.
Yeah, you would think that this would make me less afraid of buffets. It doesn't.
Well, I mean, you are in a new place, so she didn't have any context. It's like
Right.
it seemed like the owner of the restaurant is in the scene. Like, so it didn't feel like it's not like a chain or anything. Like, she would just have no context to know
Right,
what
right.
it was. It's a
So-
new situation.
Yeah, so Murphy goes up to the buffet, and it's just this is my nightmare, and is not using her cane because she's angry and she's a little drunk, and she's grabbing at plates. And of course, my biggest problem with buffets, I can't tell what anything is.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
labels that are on
Yeah.
the food are eensy.
Yeah.
So
And
I
I'm a
have to-
vegan. It's infuriating. I just like want to throw the plates at
Oh,
people.
you would not want to go to the Golden Corral. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. So if for a blind person going to a buffet, you have to have a sighted person with you.
Exactly.
You have to have somebody not necessarily holding your hand, but you have to have somebody telling you what every dish is and where every spoon is and what's over here.
To depend on people and to do
Yes.
stuff that they
Yes.
don't know how to do, and it's extremely
I hate
infuriating.
I hate
Yeah.
it. I don't mind somebody, a wait staff person or the person I'm with, I don't mind somebody reading a menu to me. That's
Right.
fine. Like that's
Because
okay.
then you just order one thing,
and I get to tell this person what I want.
right, exactly. You're actually speaking, and yeah, no, I will.
And they bring it to me. What a novel concept.
I know.
Yeah.
I literally will only use a buffet if I do not get the option to order. If there is an option to order, I will order.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can't eat anything in the ordering, I don't know. It's just I hate it. Yeah, it's awful.
Right. So Murphy goes to the buffet and kind of sort of makes an ass out of herself. I mean, I've never gone this far, but
Yeah.
she can't find the serving spoons. So she doesn't know what anything is. So she's reaching into the food and just taking handfuls of like stuff.
Which like no blind person would behave that way.
No, I mean this isn't played up obviously for drama and for TV. But I mean, she's tipsy. She's a little drunk, and of course she's freaking out the other customers and rightly so.
Right.
And then the manager of the restaurant comes over and is like, you need to leave. You need to stop. And then she gets angry because, she's disabled and this is not accessible. All valid points.
Right.
But this is not the way to go about
that's
it.
not a functioning.
And this all culminates with Max getting shoved. No, yeah, Murphy or Max. Someone gets shoved by the manager, and then Murphy turns around to slug the manager, and she hits Max in the face with a spoon.
Oh, well, because doesn't like Max hit the manager?
Max shoves the manager.
Okay, and that's why she doesn't hit the manager.
Right, because the manager is out of her way. And
I
the
see,
only
okay,
person
I
in her
forgot.
way is Max, and she spins around and like whomps him with the spoon.
Right. Because I did have the audio descriptions on it.
Me too.
It was just
Yeah,
complicated,
I
so I
watched-
forgot.
yeah.
Thanks for remembering. Yeah. So then we have the police are
Yeah.
called,
Mm-hmm.
and it's resolved because Max has a warrant. Or like can't have another
He's got priors. is what he
right,
says.
priors. Yeah. So then she's like, oh, she goes to the police and is like, this restaurant isn't accessible. And then I'm like, that's not how the world works.
I know. I was like, on the one hand, I was like, go Murphy. Like, yeah, you and Max are, well, not really Max. Like, you are totes in the wrong here. Like, you caused a scene and
Right.
And the manager kind of sort of, I I hate to say this, but the manager kind of sort of had every right to kick him out of the restaurant.
Yeah, that was the thing, was it was just not appropriate. It didn't make any sense. I was like, no blind person would do this. Like we don't have the room in society to be like fucking assholes like that. Like that's not.
I mean, yeah, I get frustrated, but usually
you get frustrated and then you're just like, well, because I'm not eating. That's like what happens.
Or yeah, if I ever go to a buffet, I have someone with me. It's not my choice to go to the buffet. Like
and you're just not gonna make it because it's already stressful. That's why add on stress.
Well, and we gotta remember that the whole point of this episode is Murphy is tired of people always needing to help her.
Right, but then she doesn't want to be helped. Use her cane.
No,
at the buffet.
No,
which
she doesn't use her cane.
So
I'm
much.
like, Murphy. I'm like, she's like, it's just over here. It's over here, and she's going off, like, arms out and everything. And I'm just like, this is so terrible.
It doesn't, but it doesn't make logical sense to me. Because if you are fiercely independent, you want to be independent in situations where you're always going to be I don't know. I have trouble asking people for help in situations
always.
Where it makes sense. I think that's extremely relatable to blind people.
When I go to a coffee shop or something and the menu and everything that I can't read, I will either order the same thing because I have that memorized.
Right, which is what I do.
Which is usually because I am too shy to take a picture of it, so I can blow it up on my phone or ask the employee the very reasonable question, "What do you have here?"
Right.
Because I just don't, I'm so afraid of taking up people's time, of the line of people behind me. And that's just that's a roadblock that I have to get over because the people behind me can fucking deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's also I don't know. I don't like to blame us though. Because I feel like that's not our fault. We're at a society that doesn't want to accommodate us.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of places here in Portland especially will have menus that you can take or that you can read or that are in a brochure or something.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, to their credit, here in Portland have seen me and actually helped me out by listing off what they have or by you just communicating.
Right.
Hey, we have this.
People
and this
here
and this.
are a lot better at communicating than most other places I've been, and it is nice. Definitely in Southern California, it was extremely different. People would not, you would just have to repeat that you need the menu read to you a million times, and they would it was a mess. But
this whole arc, her little mini arc in this episode is all about learning that it's okay to ask for help. You're not weak.
Right.
You're just asking for help. Yeah,
I feel like we didn't need the buffet. I mean, there's so many ways of doing that structurally in a plot that's not just someone behaving in that's just so far from any blind person's behavior.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how a sighted person would take that scene, because if it was played for comedy, I wasn't laughing.
Yeah,
my stomach was in knots the whole time.
Well, that was the other thing. Yeah, it was why is this in this? It didn't feel like it was being played for laughs, but then it was also but why was it there? It didn't serve any other purpose that I could tell. Was it supposed to be funny? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. It definitely wasn't funny, but it might have been that's the reason for it being in there. It was played for laughs somehow.
Yeah, I mean, seeing Murphy kind of sort of with the plate and the food going everywhere. I mean, the little kind of sort of gags at the beginning, that's kind of funny, kind of, because it's kind of what I've always wanted to do at a buffet.
Right.
I'm just stick my hands everywhere and throw food and everything because I'm just so frustrated.
Right.
It's awful, but then it goes to the nth degree, and it's not funny anymore. It's just terrifying and sad.
Well, because I think it's right. Because I think that part of this is an improv thing. Is you're supposed to take something that you wouldn't actually do, but you basically exactly what you just said. With yes, that's what you want to do when you're at a buffet, but you would never do that because that's not socially acceptable. And so but you are supposed to for comedic purposes just do that stuff in a scene because that's more fun to watch generally. And so I think that that is probably why it's in there, if that makes any sense.
It's also I think it's also we needed a climax, we needed a culmination of this episode.
Yeah.
And if you go back and look at the other plot points, I mean, it had kind of been piling on Murphy the entire episode. There's the bit at the gas station.
Yeah, which I also want to talk about that.
Yeah, so let's...
The first episode is... I was like, we're going to spend more than half the episode talking about the first episode.
Yeah. There's a lot in this episode. Yeah. Okay, so let's flip backwards to the gas station.
Yeah, so... Or actually, can I finish a point I was thinking about the buffet? Because I think it's not an important enough point to come back to. But I think that, like, with the comedy of... putting it to the nth degree, I think it does make it feel more like you're punching down, because what happens is she becomes the thing we're laughing at a certain point. I don't know if that's just how it felt to me.
Yeah, but yes, I totally hear you. I think they got away with it because in the end she wins.
Right.
She takes the whole situation, turns it on its head, and uses it to her advantage. I mean, she plays the biggest blind card I have ever seen.
Yeah.
And they get away.
I guess for me, yeah, it is hard because I get that there is like sort of a like, yeah, buffets suck and we're sticking it to the man or whatever. But then it also was like, it felt also kind of like it played into a completely false stereotype that like disabled people are constantly getting treated better. Like police treat disabled people worse. Like, you know, it's not, they don't treat us better. Like just being disabled doesn't make you more, like police are not going to be nicer to you.
She also at the end of her little monologue threatens to that her lawyer is coming.
Right, and that is using like white girl privilege.
Oh, totes, but
which is for me feels better because then it's not like saying something that theoretically is harmful to think that like police are just giving disabled people like when they're shooting us, they're not giving us rights.
Yeah, but I also think that the manager of the restaurant didn't want to deal with all of this.
Yeah,
like he could, you know, all in all, food was thrown. Oh no, poor Max is the one who actually got hurt.
Yeah,
she hit him with a spoon. The manager is fine. His business is fine. He can just, you know, say that they are just not allowed to ever come back.
Right.
They're banned for life.
Yeah,
so,
Max felt like, well, that was the thing is like Max was kind of being a dick the entire episode, and then his like comeuppance was unfair. You were like, he's just kind of unfairly put in this situation, like because he was like, don't go without your cane, you know, which is reasonable. Reasonable thing to say.
Absolutely.
And then he was like, don't just get food all over yourself. Like everything in that, like all of a sudden the entire episode he was being a fucking douchebag, and then all of a sudden he's being reasonable, and that's when he gets punished. And it bothered me because I wanted it to be flipped. I wanted to be punished for being a dick, but he wound up getting punished the second he became reasonable. Like, which is annoying.
I think that speaks more to Murphy's character than Max's character. Honestly, now you know, Max is being reasonable and Max is figuring it out, and then Murphy fucks it up again.
Right, which is, I don't know. I guess
this whole thing starts at the beginning of the episode with this dinner scene. And Max made a wonderful dinner for them, and you know, serving everybody. And you know, Murphy, your water glass is right here. You know, and blah blah blah. And Jess has to
do anything.
No, and Jess has to call him out on it because obviously, yes. And she takes, you know, and taps the glass, which I thought was a nice touch.
Cute.
Yeah, it was really cute. Like, yes, you've been friends for a while and you know each other. It's just cute.
What if Jess was the blind one? I do think I would rather watch that show sometimes.
The show would be so different because Jess is in a really beautiful, committed relationship, and she has a job, and that she loves.
I personally do think I would have more fun watching the show if Jess was the character that was blind and Murphy was the sighted one.
Yeah, well, I had a discussion about this show with another friend of mine back home, and she's like, "Oh man, you have to watch this show. The blind character is just a piece of shit." I'm like, "Oh, do you mean In the Dark?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, I think I do." And so it was a really interesting conversation because I don't necessarily want to defend the show because I don't think it's perfect.
Yeah.
There are definitely times where I think this is more prevalent in the previous episodes rather than these 3 episodes because I think Murphy is finally starting to change. But a little bit, small, baby steps.
Right.
But I didn't really want to defend the show, but I don't really want to leave Murphy on the curb either, because I don't think Murphy is awful. I don't think she's irredeemable. That's the word.
I definitely don't think she's irredeemable. I think, yeah, because I just feel like some of her flaws don't feel very real to me. Like, I feel like she's just so mean in a way that is just blind people. And I don't know. I think I did talk about this in the last episode, but it's just like, we do suffer so much isolation that I feel like we are going to be far more willing to just do ridiculous things to like maintain social ties, where like that's where the ridiculousness comes in. It's like what we will do to not get people mad at us.
Yeah. Oh God. I know exactly how that feels.
The exact opposite. She is constantly getting people mad at her for reasons that are like, this didn't need to happen. Like, this is not because you're blind. Mm-hmm. This is just because you're behaving in a weird way right now.
And I think a lot of, and maybe I said this on the last episode too, I think a lot of Murphy is heightened for TV.
It's definitely TV. Like, a lot of times I'm like, is there just like an exec that's like hurting this show or something? I mean, like, it just feels like so much of it is like, this needs to be more TV.
Make her more unapproachable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is like so weird. I mean, it is, as much as I do love TV, I think that's a problem overall. Like, because you especially when you have so little like really good representation of disability, and like, I do think that it's a lot more fun to watch like characters in TV shows that are growing and changing, and like, and I want to see one that's more capable.
Yeah, I mean that's what's going to happen to Murphy. I mean, obviously she's going to grow, she's going to change. Nobody wants to watch a show, 2 seasons of a show about a shit human being,
and she can't get any worse, really. So there's only one direction to go up.
She's going to go up. Yeah, it's just going to be slow. She has to have somewhere to come from. But, and I'm going to do this. If you compare Murphy to Toph from Avatar, Toph's growth makes so much more sense, because Toph is not the nicest of people when you meet her.
Yeah.
But you know, she's definitely not on the level of like Murphy.
Right.
But she's not the nicest of people, and she has to learn lessons, and she has to change, and she has to grow. But I feel like Toph is I feel like her struggles are a little bit more fully realized.
Yeah, well, she feels hardened by the world, that's how you write an imperfect blind character, is because we are all hardened by the world, and we are all very sardonic, which, like, I don't know. I mean, granted, I should never say we are all anything, but like, but you know, it is far more believable to have a very sarcastic character that just feels hardened because of like feeling like struggling to trust people, but is simultaneously wanting to trust people. And with Murphy, it almost feels like the opposite. It's like somehow she kind of like it's not that she never really trusts people, or at least other than like Jess, like, and her dad, or you know, the few characters that she does trust. But it feels more like you don't really have a sense of how she became to be so. It almost feels like it's innate, like she innately doesn't trust people, and it's like, no, that comes from like having a lot of people letting you down, whereas she'll have like people who are being very kind to her, and then she's like, well, fuck you, and it's like, wait, but like that, why are you behaving like that's not, it just feels wrong to me.
And maybe that's something that we're gonna find out a little bit more about as the show goes on. I mean, maybe there was just that one person who really, really, really hurt her, and she has to shut down and then come back from whatever happened. But I mean, she has 2 very loving parents, very supportive parents for the most part. Her mom is interesting, but her dad is very supportive. Yeah. She has, you know, Jess who says, you know, who's a saint. Oh my God, Saint Jess. Yes. Yeah. Here now referred to as Saint Jess. And she talks about knowing Murphy, you know, for years. Since they were little.
Yeah, and which also, I'm like, the security that a blind person would have of having that like that kind of friendship, like, I don't know, I feel like in my life that those friendships, like, I lost them, like, and I felt like a lot of it was because people were not willing to like do what Jess does with disability, and not willing to fully get me, and like it was really traumatizing. And so I feel like I would have such more of a secure attachment style if I had someone like Jess.
I wish Well, actually, I can't say that I don't have a Jess, because I have multiple Jesses. They're just not. They're not my roommates. They're not in my life all of like 24/7.
Right.
I didn't start finding my Jesses until I was in college.
Yeah.
I knew blind kids in high school because we were the 5 blind kids, but we don't talk, we don't communicate. There's just nothing there.
Yeah, I mean, just like high school, and right, because they are like lifelong friends. Yeah, that is it does make you feel like, because you really, I was just listening to a podcast where they were saying the important difference with friends is not like the only big difference between how many friends you have is 0 and 1, and the rest is all the same. Like, which I believe very strongly. Like, the difference between 0 and 1 is giant, and then everything after that is kind of all the same thing. So, like, why isn't the kind of like the base of Jess as a friend, which we see like her, like, in the Veronica Mars-y way of like, we have a very hardened character, hardened by losing a friend the first season, solving the mystery. Like, but in Veronica Mars doesn't really have another very strong female. Like, it feels more, she does, I guess, because you just have to. I think that's part of the problem, is you have to like have a different character that is the confidant for the way you structure a TV show. Like that you're going to be told you need a character.
Well, and we kind of find out that, not kind of, we find out that Tyson was her confidant. Right. Through a series of flashbacks that we get through all 3 of these episodes. Right. They spent a lot of time together, a whole lot of time together.
Which, like, she has 2 very strong friendships. I feel like that is almost unbelievable. Right. Like, even an adult, like not even a disabled person, but it's hard to make friends as an adult.
Yes, I don't think it's that unbelievable that she has 2 very, very, very strong connections with friends.
Yeah,
I don't think that's unbelievable.
Much time with them. I mean, usually as an adult, I feel like you don't have that same level of like close friendship. One of them is a high school student, so that probably helped. Like, just because that's not like a judgment at all. It's just like life stages. You have a lot of very close friends in like high school, or before that, and then maybe still in college, but once you're out of college, it's just your life doesn't lend itself to that as easily.
Oh, wow. I would say that I have to disagree.
Really? I mean, this is what social psychologists say.
I mean, I had a couple of true friends that I still have. One in particular that I had before I went into college, but I don't think I made my true friends, like these are lifelong connections with people I'll never drop, until I went into college. And that was because I finally had people who quote unquote saw me. Right. But not only did they see the disability, but they also saw me. And it wasn't about them learning how to, that's Melissa. We don't, she's blind, but we don't treat her like that. That's not help. That doesn't help. Yeah. They saw me and they saw my disability, and we were able to joke about it, and we were able to get along and be together and be friends. And I mean, I have all of these people on Facebook, obviously, but especially with the pandemic, I have reconnected with a lot of them. Right. Which has been amazing.
Do you feel like you have like really close friendships right now in the same way that you would when you were younger? I don't know. I mean, I also feel like some disabled people just lose those friends because we don't get the privilege of having friendships that were people, because you're more likely to have just shitty people when it comes to disability, because ableism is more common.
I think it was harder for me when I was younger to make friends. And I didn't have very many friends. I was never that person with 50 friends. I was never popular. I was never in the social clique, but also
So that's also it's very a sad life also, because
Right.
you don't really have any friends at that point.
right.
For
I mean,
most of those kids.
but also my home was a daycare. I mean, my mom ran a daycare out of our home, so I had so many people already that were around me constantly. And
Right.
I would say that, yeah, they were my friends at the time. Yes, you are correct in that I've lost track with all of them. I remember them, but maybe they don't remember me, but I couldn't tell you how to get in contact with any of them.
Well, do you feel like you had, I guess it's just like people that you just had very, because it doesn't really have to do with how much time you're with someone as much as it does like how close you are friend wise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I feel like you have in college and before that, you tend to just have your life is structured in a way that it's easier to have very close friends, or you're spending a lot of time with them. And then I think a lot of times it's because people wind up with having partners, and I think that with single people, I think I probably do have more like close friends because I don't have a partner, but it's just like a life it's just as life changes in different stages, you have a different kind of social circle. But it's not just like it's not like just people in your life as much as it is like how close you are to certain people, like because you can have just a few very close friendships, and those kinds of very close you are my best friend kind of relationships are just more likely before like college, and before like those are just times where you're more likely to get in those relationships with a friend. And then as you get older, your life just isn't as structured to do that, if that makes sense.
I suppose. Yeah. I suppose, but I still think you can have that super meaningful relationship still. I think there's still an opportunity to have that relationship, that type of relationship. I don't think you have to have grown up with that person and have had them be your best friend to have a really awesome, amazing friendship relationship. I mean, do I have a friend like Jess as far as someone who spent almost every waking minute with me and now we live together? No. No, I don't have that. I don't have that type of friend, but I have plenty of people that I have just as good a relationship with.
Right.
Like Murphy and Jess's relationship.
It is, though, don't you feel like you have to work a little bit more to maintain those than Murphy seems to feel like she does?
Yeah, I mean, I felt really terrible, especially moving here. I didn't go on Facebook for the longest time because it was just a horrific cloud of homesickness. And I'm not saying that I need to cut my friends out of my friends from Alaska. I'm not saying I need to cut them out of my life, because that's not what I did at all. But I'm a terrible friend. I'm a terrible long distance friend.
Right.
I'm just awful. Yeah.
I mean, for me, I'm just like, I can't see Facebook. All it does is just make me feel farther away from everyone.
Right,
and even
right.
the people I'm closer to, whereas like at least the people I'm closer to, we can, I mean, theoretically hang out in person. Normally we could have hung out in person. But like, that I think makes a big difference. And I don't think that you're dishonoring people, but it's blind people just can't really maintain friendships where you don't get to actually be physically with someone. Or you can do it if you talk on the phone all the time, but like those are your only options basically.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I'm a terrible pen pal, and before I left all of my friends.
You shouldn't have to be a pen pal.
No, that was just
But I've known people who
friend,
didn't want to be friends with me anymore because I wasn't going to be sending them letters. Like that was an important thing to them, right? But I know, but that's what you get when you have like elementary school friends,
right? Well, okay, so I told all of my friends before I left. I'm like, look, I'm a terrible long distance friend. I don't hate you. I love you. I will always love you. But I'm just awful at communicating, and they knew that,
right?
Because a lot of my friends are too. So.
Good friends should be able to empathize with that. It's not like there's an easy solution.
Yeah, and when I got back together with a lot of my friends from Alaska because of the pandemic, we ended up playing D&D, or we've had chat sessions, and I was nervous at first because some of these guys I haven't talked to for 3 years.
Right.
And I oh my God, are they going to be mad at me? Are they going to hate me? And the exact opposite happened. It was just like we had talked yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just we fell right back into the rhythm of our friendship.
Right. And that happens,
and it's nice. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, like, I don't know. I just feel like she just has she had a lot of support, and so I'm just confused on what is happening with her. Like, why Murphy feels so self-destructive. It almost feels like it's like a tug of war with the blind writers, because sometimes you have moments where you're like, okay, they know that blindness doesn't make you like, they know that's not true, but then other times you're like, do all the writers know this? Because you'll have certain things that happen where it just feels like there's no real explanation other than, well, she's blind, so I don't know, that makes people alcoholics, right? Like, that's just inherently something that would make someone, like, angry and an alcoholic.
I mean, I would like to think that she is not an alcoholic because she's blind. I don't want to watch a show like that. We're getting very close to wallowing territory, and I don't want to watch that.
Yeah.
If she's an alcoholic because something happened in her life and it's a trauma that she's going to have to get over and work through, I'm on board for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I would rather watch that. But no, I don't think all of her behaviors stem from being blind.
Yeah. Right. I guess that's the thing, is I want to know where it stems from.
Right. I think a lot of her problems a sighted person can have just as easily. I mean, having sex because you don't want to feel anything.
Right. They feel almost all of them feel more like sighted person problems. Like, that's the weird thing, is I'm like, is this a blind character? Because she seems to be behaving in all the ways sighted people. Like, she just seems so sighted as a character to me. Like, so many of the things that she has problems with feel very distant from, like, a blind experience.
Well, but you don't know the experience of all blind people.
That's true, but I feel like I have a lot of experiences that are close to hers in a way that I'm like, oh, this is just not how I would react. And it's weird because it just feels like a weird, like, it's like a mirror image that's corrupted in some way. Like, it's just very bizarre. Because I think, like, I don't know, the sex thing is a whole other thing that I'm still trying to figure out why it bothers me, but there was a lot less of that in these last 3 episodes. It was a lot more last time.
And then when she tries to do it, she can't. There's just nothing. It doesn't work anymore. Sex was a band-aid, or it was something that she could do
to gain control.
Yeah, to gain control and to disconnect from that other person.
Right. Which it doesn't make any sense. Sex does not disconnect you from people. That's not real.
Well, maybe that's the whole thing, and then she'll find out that sex is about feeling and it is about connecting with somebody and using all of your senses and
Yeah, I mean, but that's...
you can also use sex to distance yourself too
from someone,
from someone or from the world, because she doesn't want to have relationships. She doesn't want all of the emotionally intimate stuff, the partnership of a relationship. All she wants is the physical.
Right.
That's it. She just, and not even like. The only physical she wants is sex. Is that physical part of the relationship? She doesn't want. She still, Max being in her bed still freaks her out. Him touching her freaks her out. You just little, like,
all that stuff is so not blind person things. I just feel like I've never heard a blind person.
But you don't know that.
I mean, if she's like. Well, no, I was going to say if you're ace, but obviously that would not be if you're ace, because she has a lot of sex. But it's just like, she's like, that doesn't make any sense as a promiscuous blind person. You don't want to be touched. Like, wouldn't part of it be like, I feel like it would be more, in like, from all the people I know, including myself who've been through this, it is a lot more about like the needing connection, because you feel so isolated and you feel like you've had to deal with so many people unfairly push you away, and so it's that wanting to grab onto someone, but it is sex because that's connected to close relationships, and it's always those kind of things are the same idea, and that's the experience that me and other Black people I know have had, and I just have never heard of someone like this.
I mean, this whole sex thing is also another TV trope. This is not the first character that I've seen to do this.
Right. And it is one of those things where you're like, how much has this existed in the real world? Like, how much of this is just TV decided this is how the world works, and it just has no basis in reality. I
don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. I'm still dubious of it. But yeah, that I guess we just get to see Max being an asshole more than the sex stuff, I get. Like, yeah, there's that one scene where she like has sex with some random guy or doesn't.
Well, right, she tries to and then just doesn't.
She's disassociating.
Right. Well, sex as a way to escape isn't working anymore, because the sex that she, and this is my hypothesis, I don't know, but the sex that she has been having with Max is starting to mean something. Yeah. And I mean, and there's this whole thing about, she doesn't want him to call her her girlfriend. She doesn't want to say that she has a boyfriend, that he's her boyfriend.
He kind of sucks though. I feel like she should that's a good
Obviously, she should end up with Officer Dean, because Chloe is amazing, and her and Chloe have that really awesome little scene where they're eating sandwiches and they break into Officer Dean's police computer.
That's such a cute scene.
I loved it so much.
But I don't know. Dean does not have a lot of chemistry with her, though. I feel like
no, not really, not really. But I mean, hello, food truck guy is also helping Darnell and running and laundering all the money for the drug ring.
No, Max sucks. Like, he sucks. Yeah. I just think that like Dean and her just don't have enough chemistry that it seems like it would. But I don't like Max. I want a third option.
but now we have Chelsea, the bartender, who is like getting in with Dean. Yeah. So is that going to make Murphy super jealous?
Probably not. I think they're going to make the bartender more jealous, but they have way more chemistry. Like, they should be together.
Absolutely. Chelsea's really awesome, and yes, they do. Prediction, though, obviously Murphy is going to find out about Max's involvement with everything and his shady past, and she's either going to stick by him or dump him, or this will just be, she'll finally have a reason to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to push you away. I don't need you. You're terrible. There you go.
Well, she doesn't need a reason to do that. She has to like be very vulnerable with him, like in episode 9, and then at the very end of episode 9, we'll find out that like that's what she uncovers everything. Something has to happen that she feels like, now I can truly trust him, so that then she'll find out what's going on.
Which is I mean, and that's kind of what happens in the little scene where she comes back to Max's truck and hugs him. Like, actually shows some kind of weird affection. And this had been after they'd broken up for the umpteenth time. Yeah.
Which, okay, so like when we never actually did talk about it, but we have in the road trip in the first episode, we have the first scene where Max does not help her because they're like stopped to fix the car because the car breaks down. And she, like, Murphy's mad about something. I don't remember why. I think like Max tries to help with something, and Murphy's like, I can figure out where a bathroom is. Is that it?
Right. Yeah. Murphy, they're in the gas station, and
he's like, do you want me to come with you? And she's like, I know how to go to the bathroom. Which that one was like, okay, I get that. Like, that one I get. Like, that's annoying. Like, even though it's annoying that you in a new place have to find the bathroom, it is also very weird for your partner who is of a different like gender to be like, oh, walk you to the bathroom, like when you, I'm assuming, have gendered bathrooms, which they don't actually touch upon that at all. Why, like, the difficulties of gendered bathrooms with blind people.
Oh man, I've gone into the men's room countless times.
Yeah, which is, it is like another of the billion reasons why we should not have gendered bathrooms.
Right,
but
right.
Like,
the solution to this problem is
It's
easy.
obvious, yeah.
Not have gendered bathrooms.
But
Our
we should.
bathrooms at home are not gendered, so why are they gendered
Right.
in the public? But yeah, whatever.
yeah, but
a whole
that's
nother-
it is still like kind of reasonable for her to not want him to show her where or for her to be like, I'll figure out where the bathroom is, like that I believe. But then he is like really butthurt about it for some reason. I don't even like, it didn't fully make sense to me why he was so butthurt about it. It's like, you can ask someone if they need help, but if they say no, you don't, then that's good. You
Well,
did the
it's-
right thing. You asked and you
Yeah.
respected their decision. Like, you
Yeah.
can't be butthurt about it.
I mean, it's kind of about they have to find the right dynamic, as with, I think, with a blind person and in a relationship, in a friendship or a relationship with any
Right.
sighted person, you have to find that person's comfort zone, that person's barometer of how much help do they want.
Right.
You know, I don't want my friends to cut my food up and feed it to me.
Yeah.
But if I'm in a restaurant with my friends and I can't find the bathroom and the directions that are being given just make no sense to me, yeah, I'm gonna ask. Or if someone asks me, because my friends know me well enough, do you want us to walk you to the bathroom? Yeah, I'm probably going to accept the help, because I don't want to wander around this restaurant with a full bladder.
Right.
You know.
Right. But the right thing to do is ask and
Right,
then let
right, and
us
they know
decide
that. Yeah.
in that situation, which is always the right thing to do. But it's also important to like be cool with either way. Like, to be
Right.
like, not like, oh, I have to like show her where the
Right.
bathroom is, but
Well,
also
yeah,
not be like really butthurt when you're like, oh no, I think I can find it. Like, I think I have a sense of where it is.
Well, and Max, I'm assuming Murphy is the first blind person that he's been with, so he just this is all junk that he has to learn. That no one grows up learning unless you are you are blind, or you are maybe a sibling is blind, or maybe a friend that you made in school is blind or something. This isn't stuff
you
that's
learned
just
about
taught to you.
disability in college because you
Yup.
majored in something where you had to learn about
Yeah.
disability, which
Yeah.
was very few people.
Right. This isn't just something that's taught to everybody. So
Yeah,
you have
definitely
to-
not.
It's hard and it's weird and it's awkward, and you have to find it. And
Right. The communication is key, and it is weird. It's a little weird how incapable they are. Because that one, it was like, we did the right thing, guys. Like, he asked, she said no. Like, that's not appropriate to, like, it's the butthurtness of that that I'm like,
Right,
You
right.
did the right thing by asking. It's not the right thing to then get mad. It's not personal. Like, she
right.
didn't decide.
That's you getting mad is your problem,
Yeah.
because you're embarrassed that maybe she'll make a mistake, or maybe she'll trip, or maybe she won't find it. You know, you're projecting your embarrassment onto her.
Right. And she is like overly sarcastic about it. But I think that, like, I mean, I don't know. I probably in that situation would be like, it's okay, I'm good. Like, I probably wouldn't be super sarcastic about something like that. But if I was in a bad mood, I might be. I don't know. I might be sarcastic about it. But it's also like, I think it's just, he just had such an extreme reaction to her
Well,
being
and
sarcastic.
Murphy kind of sort of gets it in the end, or in the next scene, because Max has to move the car out of the gas station, and Murphy's still getting a snack, and he's been told by Murphy several times now, I don't want help. You don't have to help me. I can do it myself. That he just moves the car out of
Yeah, that made
the
me
gas station,
so
and
furious.
I was so afraid and angry, and I'm like, this
Just
isn't
what a stupid fucking
right. This isn't I can find the bathroom myself. This is
Right,
I
it's
might walk
completely
into
different.
Right, I might walk into traffic because you're not where you said you would be.
Yeah, that's like literally you're doing something aggressive. Like, you are actively being aggressive. All you needed to do was just stay there. Like, that's it. And to move the car is just like, also just use your fucking brain, Max. Like, I just feel like someone who's that incapable of just being logical about this stuff, like, it is so obvious. Like, those are the kinds of people that I'm like, I don't think we could really be that much of friends, because I feel like you should just by default be a lot better at figuring this out. Like, just think, this person can't see very well. There's a lot of things that if you just do, it's like, it's what is it? Theory of mind, like the ability to just think this is someone else's like perspective of the world. The idea that like not needing help in something like finding the bathroom means you can just completely be in an entirely different place than when she left and give her absolutely no indication. That is 100% your problem, that you can't think straight.
And that's the learning.
That's not learning, though. That should come with the package.
Right. It was stupid of him to do. It was absolutely stupid of him to do. But that's kind of they're testing each other's boundaries.
I guess. But that's
dumb.
like, I would be like,
horrible
this
way
is
to
not
do
a
it.
good relationship.
Yeah, no, I don't advocate for what he did at all.
Like, that's a red flag.
They're two totally different things. She could have died.
Yeah.
She almost got run over by a car.
That's a super big red flag for like an abusive person. Like, that's not okay. And it's just like so easy to like not do, like, to think it through. I think that's what bothers me so much, is it's just like, there are a lot of things that I can understand. Like, if someone goes to use something and puts it back in a different place because they're not thinking about how maybe you might need to use it, like, and you won't know where it is, that is not necessarily someone being like just not thinking about your perspective at all, because they're doing something, they're using the thing, they're putting it back somewhere else, and it's just not occurring to them that you might also need it and you need it to be in the same place. Like, that's the kind of mistake that is like, yeah, learning, you make that mistake once and then you get to know, oh, okay, that's kind of like, you get frustrated when I do that and now I understand why I just didn't think of that. But like, the idea of just like, you're in a unfamiliar place, you're near a street that's not like, it's not a place where she can just be wandering around with just a cane, like, and you're moving the car and you're also doing it like to be mad, so you're kind of also like happy if she struggles. It just, that feels like that's a different...
I think it started out, fine, I'll just move the car then, fine. See if you can find me, fine. And then he learns in that little scene that if he wants to be a douchebag about it, what he did almost got her killed.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the switch happens.
But he should have known that. Like, it's not that hard to, like, when it's about someone else's life, you don't want to, like, anything that you think, oh, maybe this could kill someone, even slightly occurs to you, because something being in the wrong place is inconvenient, but it's very low stakes, unless it's like an EpiPen or whatever. But like, it's generally pretty,
I mean, these are nobody except for Saint Jess. Peace be upon her. No one in this show is perfect. No, nobody is. They all have. But
that's a red flag as an abusive person. Is my thing. I don't know. It's just it is a different level of like, because it's just, if you could die, then it doesn't matter how mad you are. If you care about someone that you're dating, you don't put them in a position where they could die. Like, that is something that abusers use to like control people, is putting them in situations where they could die, which is why it seems like a big red flag to me. But yeah, so anyway, that's Max lost me potentially forever unless he really changes as a character.
Well, they do end up making it back to puppy graduation.
Yes,
they make it. Oh my god! And there's the whole B plot with this woman.
Well, this is a clip, so I have a clip.
Oh, you have a clip. Yay. Okay, good.
We have this woman who is a puppy raiser that really falls in love with the dog that she's raising for the guide dogs, and is pretending the entire episode like he's a bad guide dog, but he is Quill, life of a guide dog. He's like the platonic ideal of a guide dog. And so everyone's like, what are you talking about? And it, like, as you go, you find out that it's not that he's actually messing up, it's that she has fallen in love with him and doesn't want to give him up. Mm-hmm. And so this is the whole episode. Murphy is off on all the stuff we talked about. And then Murphy's now back she had her cane the whole time on the road trip, so she's being reunited with Pretzel, her guide dog. And this is the scene where the two of them are alone together, Murphy and the woman who had the guide dog that she fell in love with and didn't want to give to a blind person.
Is that your guide dog?
Yeah, he's kind of a pain in the ass, but I need him.
Well, he's been here all day, so you don't really need him.
Well, actually, I almost died today, but if this dumb dog was there, that wouldn't have happened.
What?
I'm just not, like, very good at letting people help me. They have all this compassion and pity, and, you know, dogs don't really have that because they're stupid.
You're so stupid.
Murphy pets Pretzel.
You one of the puppy raisers?
I am. Oh, I was.
Super decent what you guys do.
Gloria wears a guilty expression. She turns away.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I thought that was a good clip to play.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. And I like how Murphy talks about compassion versus pity. I would prefer compassion over pity. Like, help.
Yeah, I do wish she kind of differentiated those.
Yeah.
Because pity maybe would be better.
Pity is not what I want if I'm being helped by someone.
Right. Though a guide dog, I feel like is compassionate, so I was like, well, it's not a perfect metaphor, but
yeah, but a guide dog can't pity you. A guide dog is there to help you. Yeah. A guide dog is compassionate because they're trained to be.
Yeah. Well, and I think they do, you know, dogs do love you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you love your dog. I mean, you care. You're in a relationship. You care deeply about the other.
And the two of you it is a more, you know, reciprocal relationship because you are still taking care of the dog. It's not, you know, it's not only that you're getting guided. It's not only working for you. You're also working for the dog.
Right. Your dog depends on you for things.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a more like reciprocal relationship than even many dog-human relationship. Well, I mean, you know, as pets, I guess, like it's more, well, I mean, you get a lot out of having a pet. But.
If you notice after this episode, because I noticed it, Pretzel is with her almost in every scene.
Yeah.
So she is, that's another thing that she's
podcast
learning
is just
to do.
Gonna make me be on, I was like, okay, should I get on a wait list?
I know.
Want a guide dog.
I know.
So
I'm
bad.
like, I want a guide dog named Pretzel, but I would name mine Streusel.
Oh, though you aren't allowed to name them.
I know. I have a list. Of guide dogs. Like I collect names for my potential guide dogs.
Get to name one.
Nope.
It's the only time we're having a list of dog names is not helpful for getting a specific dog.
I just added one to the list last night.
You should just work at a place that
I know
that names them.
I know
that
I
should.
should.
Be what you do.
That should
what
be
was
my
the
job.
name you added last night though?
Nephalil.
Ooh.
It's ancient Greek. It means, well, it's the name of a cloud nymph who is also the mother of centaurs.
Whoa.
Yep. Nephalil.
That's cool.
Oh, poopy. I said it wrong. Nephili. Which is better. Yeah. Better than the other way I said it. Yeah. Nephili. That's the name I added.
Yeah. I wish, you could name them.
Yeah. But that's you gotta compromise.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Pretzel's a great name though.
Yeah, Pretzel's a
great name for a guide dog.
Yeah. That scene is like that was a good TV moment. I was like,
yeah,
that was solid TV moment of like two characters coming from very different perspectives, like both of them behaving badly, and then because of their interaction, like just also that Murphy was kind of some sort of, I wish she was more of that as a character. I think like when she deals with like other blind related things, she'll have those moments of like being like not put together, but like someone who is comfortable in their own skin almost, you know, or just has a sort of agency about her. Whereas I feel like a lot of times when she's dealing in a sighted world, it just feels like she has absolutely no agency whatsoever. And like
Right.
everyone is kind of like pitying her because, but not even just like they're pitying her because she's blind, but they're pitying her because she's acting badly.
Well, I mean, Murphy realizes that doesn't always have to be pity to be helped or to ask for help. That's not everybody is pitying you. And the woman realizes, Gloria is her name, realizes that the compassionate thing to do is to give up her dog, give up the dog, but not only that, is to hold up her end of the deal.
Right.
Like, she entered into a contract with this place, and the deal is you have to give the dog up, and it sucks. It's I'm sure I've never puppy raised, but I've had many dogs, and I would just be devastated if after a year of having this dog in my life, I would have to give the dog up. But the way I would get through it is, exactly what Murphy said. The dog is going to help somebody.
Right. Yeah. And like that also that you really wanted her to learn a lesson when she's like, well, you didn't need the dog because the dog was there all day. You were like, own her.
Oh, I know.
So fucked up.
On the one hand, I was like, bitch, don't you dare! Like, how dare you say that about a guide dog and their person?
Yeah.
Like, oh, but Murphy takes it on the chin, and she kind of has a point.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like that was her very calmly having like a legit comeback of like, truly an ableist thing to say. Like that is just in no world is that not ableist to what Gloria says.
Right. I don't need my guide dog to come to the bathroom with me, when I go to the bathroom, but that doesn't,
well, it's also like
it doesn't mean I don't need the dog.
Accessibility like there's idea that like, first of all, blind people, we never get to live in the world just with carefree. Like there's always things that are fucking with us no matter what we do, but the idea that an accessibility device, you don't need it if you can exist in the world for a time without it, like I think that it's just such a fucked up like ableist perspective that just because it's not something that you are doing every second of your life,
right,
you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Like, because it's really what she's not just saying that she doesn't need it. She's also, the implication isn't really that she needs it. It's that she doesn't deserve to have this thing because she's not willing to have it all the time. And that is just such a fucked up thing, because you can also like, it ranges too, and she has the cane, so it's not like she's not using another accessibility device in those moments.
This exact situation is how I got tricked out of my first CCTV, actually.
How?
Oh man, they apparently another visually impaired student, I guess, I don't know, needed it more than me, or they just didn't have enough to go around. I don't know, some bullshit. But I was just kind of very casually asked by one of the BVI teachers, do you use it every day? What do you use it for? And I answered all the questions. Well, do you use it every day? Well, not every day, but I use it.
Oh my God.
And like literally a week later, my actual BVI teacher came to take it away, and because they gave it to another student, and I was like, oh, fuck. I learned real quick. Like, you lie, because they will take your shit.
That is so unbelievably fucked up.
Oh my God, this one BVI teacher was just, she's a horrible person, and I
don't need you to be alive, but it's still happening. So.
Yeah, exactly. No, she was an awful teacher, and she made the one and only. Actually, I can't say only because I went to a couple of them, but she made this particular blind summer school.
Hell.
Yeah.
Fuck everyone.
Yeah. I had really amazing BVI teachers, except for one dude in high school, but. Yeah, this lady is not nice.
That's horrible. That's so infuriating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Gloria in the scene. That's lady. But yeah.
Luckily she does relinquish the dog.
Yes.
Also, it's like $50,000 dog, which Felix points out several times.
Right. Felix is such a funny.
Felix is so goofy. Yeah.
Because sometimes he's just a complete like idiot / like asshole, and then other times he's just like the kind of lovable guy that everyone makes fun of, and
Right,
it's just
he's
like
just
it's
goofball.
always one or the other.
He's the office goofball.
Yeah.
We actually get to find out a little bit more about Felix in these episodes.
Yes,
because Murphy realizes that she might have been wrong about finding Tyson dead, and she's like, I have to touch a dead body. I have to do this. This is something I must do. And of course she can't just go to the morgue and be like, hello, can I touch a dead body? So we find out that Felix's uncle is in hospice at his mother's house, and he's on death's door. And Murphy was like, perfect. Let's go. I want to feel him. And you're just like, oh,
so contrived,
my God,
and ridiculous.
This will not end well, and it doesn't.
I mean, how could it possibly end well?
No, yeah, you're right. There's no universe in which this ends well. And so Jess goes with her, and they go to Felix's mom's house, and we find out that the Felix parents are like loaded. They have a really nice house, and they kind of everybody kind of cuddles up to each other, and they drink and they talk, and you really find out that Felix is a real person, and he's an asshole, but he doesn't have to be an asshole all the time.
His parents are very very dismissive of him. Like his parents suck, basically.
Yeah. He says something about if I'm wildly paraphrasing, but even if my brother and sister, like, they're turds, my parents would shellac them and put them on display.
That
if
they could. I feel like that's a weird random TV trope. The like sibling, like I've been, just because we're in quarantine, so I've literally, that's my entire life now, I was just watching so many different TV shows, but that one comes up surprisingly often. The like parents think that the shitty sibling is like, value the shitty sibling over the character that we're following. Like,
well, we don't know if his siblings are truly shitty because we never meet them.
Well, no, but we do, because don't we have, like, I don't remember exactly what, but we have a window into them being shitty, right? We have a window into them, like, because they don't even show up and the uncle's dying. Like, they're just kind of like, right. There are like a few different things where they're like, they seem like shitty, and so you're like, why would the parents like these, shitting people more? Which is why I think it's funny to have that be a trope, because it's just it's a very random idea. Like, I have shitty siblings and my parents like them more.
Right. Well, needless to say, his uncle doesn't die, so Murphy doesn't get her face feel.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm not sure which, Felix overhears Murph and Jess scheming and realizes that,
which Jess has never been okay with this.
No, Jess was not okay with this whole
for
plan.
a moment.
But she's Murphy's ride, so she's got to go.
Yeah,
or she's got to come. So Felix, of course, hears this and is upset, rightly so, because he let them into his mom's house. He's been whining and dining them all day, and it turns out that Murphy still doesn't, give a shit about him.
Yeah,
and that leads to Felix throwing Murphy out, which again she rightly deserves, but we then get this really, really amazingly beautiful scene with Saint Jess and Felix, and she comes back in to apologize, and she fixes him a sandwich, and I love because Felix is like, don't do that, I can do it, and Jess is just very simply, I make food. That's what I do.
It is like
when people I know are hurting, I make food.
It is a window, and like I feel like that scene was when I was like, I see the person Jess is of like in her relationship with Murphy specifically more than Felix, because it's like it is there. I think there is definitely a personality type of someone who like is, well, first of all, her love language is definitely acts of service, like, very much so, but like someone who kind of is compassionate in a way of like they just show up, and I think it's like it makes sense that I do think it's probably blind people definitely are more likely to have those people in their life, because it makes a lot of, like, it fits well with a blind character, because there's a lot of just random shit that you can't do, like, that's arbitrary. So having a friend that is like just the person who does that, like, it makes sense. I've like had a lot of those friends in my life, because it does fit very easily. Like, it's funny because I don't know. I think about how I try to give back to my friends all the time, and the struggle is like I can't give people rides. Like, a lot of the ways I need a lot of things from people, but I have a lot less ability to give them. And so that can be a big challenge, like when it comes to those power dynamics where you want to like provide just as much support to them. But it definitely made me think about those kinds of relationships in that scene with Jess, because it like gives you a window into what she gets from the relationship, like that she is able to with Murphy, like she's really able to be of a supporting person. And I think that like there are definitely a lot of people in the world that is the thing that they need in their life, you know.
Yeah, and I would like to think that, because then you think, oh man, you know what, Murphy's getting a lot out of this relationship, but what is Jess getting out?
Yeah,
but I think in a really weird way, Murphy keeps Jess grounded.
How so?
She is, I mean, being sarcastic and snipey and scheming and everything. I think Murphy is kind of Jess's anchor to the world, I guess. As far as being her reality check isn't the word I wanna use. Because I mean, I'm trying to come up with something, because otherwise, if you really think about it, why is Jess staying? Why? What is Jess getting out of this relationship?
Well, I don't think it's that. I think I think it's the problematic power dynamic is what I'm concerned about. Because if I could do acts of service, I think I'd be very fulfilled by a relationship where I was able to keep supporting that person. I think that is intrinsically rewarding. But I wonder what Murphy gets out of the relationship, because it feels like she's always giving, like Jess is always able to provide and Murphy's just always not able to.
Murphy gets someone that no matter how much of an asshole she is, no matter how prickly she is, at least for now, because we don't know down the road, but Murphy gets someone that she can fully be herself with and not have to justify everything, and know that person isn't going to take one look at her and go nope and walk out the door. Right.
Like someone who will put up with it, which I think that makes sense in the short term. I think in the long term those relationships are harder, because eventually you're just going to want to give something back to that relationship and feel really helpless if you can't give anything back.
And then Jess is going to feel like, I'm putting in everything into this relationship. Exactly. I do everything. Yeah. And I get nothing in return. So,
and that's not like, both people are going to get very frustrated by that, because it's not fair to put to be in. I mean, I think that, like, when you're in a relationship where you can't give back to that person, it's really upsetting. Like, I don't like it. Like, it is not just because, like, you just don't want to be in a friendship where you feel helpless to help the other person. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is like At First Sight. They talk about this, where, you know, like, it is a human decency to be able to give something. And I think that, and I definitely don't think that Jess is, like, robbing Murphy of, like, the ability to give something back. But there is that question of, like, when does the relationship become Jess's just like Murphy's inadvertently controlling Jess?
Oh, gotcha.
Where like, because I think that there is like the comfort if you're able to give back to a friend. I mean, you need to give back to be like, that is what makes a friendship a friendship.
It feels it feels good to show someone love, no matter what your love language is. You know that it's a mutual part of the relationship. But
what does Murphy give in the relationship?
Right, but one side can't be doing all the giving, and then receiving nothing.
I think so we do actually have a thing where the show's like, this is what Jess is getting out of the relationship, and we forgot about it.
Oh,
but
okay.
There is a moment. I know, but there's a moment where it's. Jess talks about being like coming out to Murphy and how Murphy didn't judge her for being gay, and it is funny because I just totally forgot about that.
That's it then. That's the key to the You're right. Oh my god, that's the key to the relationship.
I guess we just didn't find enough that we remembered.
We just circled around it. No, that's the key though. That's how the relationship works, is no one judges the other.
Right.
For whatever they do.
That makes sense. I do think you want something to build on to that, because it means they're both like seeing the, you know, disability is, and queerness have a lot of commonalities of how the oppression and you know, social dynamics of us, you know, being ostracized. There's a lot of commonality. You can find a lot of common ground. You know, I appreciate that with having like very like queer, large percentage queer friend groups, because there is like even though I'm also queer, but like you can at least there's more relatability than like a straight cis abled person has, and so I get that camaraderie aspect of it and feeling like power wise on a similar playing field. I do think that the fact that Jess does so much to accommodate Murphy and to support her is always going to make it a little bit more off kilter until it's like addressed somehow, like what. Like, because, like, yeah, I mean, being non-judgmental is an important thing, and if Jess doesn't have a lot of people she can look to for that makes sense. But then it also can feel like Murphy would be taking advantage of the fact that Jess doesn't have other people. Which, I don't know. This stuff's really hard to talk about because I don't think there's a good answer, and it's like something that I've struggled with my whole life because it is also just really frustrating to not be able to give back in a friendship.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and just literal story-wise, we only have half of the story, so we don't know yet if the friendship will evolve or if Murphy will finally be like, oh my God, I should be putting in anything into this relationship. It shouldn't be all you.
Yeah. What could Murphy give back in the relationship?
I would like to see... I don't know how she would achieve this, considering I don't think she has the money, but I think something she could do is buy Jess and her girlfriend like a getaway, like a weekend getaway or something. Yeah. Because then she's appreciating Jess for everything she does, but she's also appreciating like the relationship that she has with her girlfriend.
Right, which she does.
Oh, no, she does. I'm not saying that, like, she hates them. She doesn't hate them at all. She is goofy and makes fun of them. But that's just, you know, that's her. That is her love language. If she is mean and barks and sarcastic and makes fun of you, I think she likes you.
Right, which, I mean, that makes sense. I don't know, it's hard, because I think that, like... And I think this is always the struggle of how much help do you accept, because there's just a big fear in your head at all times with friends that are very helpful that you're just going to wind up in a relationship like they have, where it does feel like one person is just giving more and that person is inevitably going to resent that, and that also you're going to feel more cold about the relationship as the blind person, feeling like you are helpless, like this person is doing all this stuff for you and then you're not able to, and that, like, you know, and technically you can have a Jess, but you could also have like a Max. You could also have someone who is abusive and who takes that opportunity to like do things that put you in harm's way. Like, you know, there is a spectrum of what that can look like. So, you know, on the Jess end of the spectrum, you worry about that person just becoming so resentful of you that they can't be friends with you anymore. And then on the Max side, you just worry about dying, like, you know, because they put you in like true harm's way. Like, and I think that both of those are really fraught, and it's just the fact that it is much harder to give back in the way we see. But I don't even know if like capitalism is a good way to give back. I think that, like, I mean, being emotionally available for someone and like time, I think my love language is definitely time, like what is it, quality time, like that. And I think that blind people especially can do that. I think that it's an easy go-to for a blind person, because, you know, you have plenty of time. It's not like someone's gonna hire you to work full-time or anything.
Yeah, in this climate, no.
But I think that like, I think you can give back and like showing up for people, and like, and that doesn't, and sometimes that does mean that the person that you're friends with needs to be like also able to ask for that as well, because, you know, kind of navigating that can be challenging. And also, if you're spending quality time with someone, you don't want it to become them just accommodating you, like finding a way. I mean,
I truly think we're gonna get to a point where Murphy does something very egregious, and Jess is finally like, look, you need to make a choice. It's our friendship, or it's this thing that you're pursuing.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that it kind of happens a few times.
Yeah, a little bit
already. I want to I don't know. I want to see more how Murphy can get back to the relationship. Because we can get like little windows into that maybe. I don't know.
Oh boy. And speaking of other things happening, I mean, oh my gosh, there's so much going on. We found out that Janelle, oh my God. We find out that Darnell and Jules, Officer Dean's partner, are a thing.
So
they're a thing.
Contrived.
What? I mean, yes, but again, it's like, oh, it's a CW show. I don't know.
You know, there's always like drug dealers and cops are always dating a secret that neither of them can like share anything about their lives with each other. Makes sense.
Yeah. I don't really care much about that plotline at all, to be honest. I'm just throwing it in there. That's a thing that's happening though. But Murphy does get to feel her dead guy. Because she finds out that Tyson used to work for a flower shop and that flower shop was a drug front. And Tyson was playing both sides. He was working for Darnell and he was working for another drug dealer.
Yeah. Which, someone knew about this?
Yeah, I think it's Wesley, because Wesley kills the flower shop attendant while Murphy's in the flower shop. And that's how Murphy gets to feel her dead guy. She sees if he's alive and he's not.
Right. And Wesley is the
Darnell's new guy.
Right.
Yeah. He's helping Darnell launder money through Max's truck. Yeah.
Yeah. That is all very complicated.
Mm-hmm. But Murphy feels her dead guy, and we find out that Tyson might not have been dead. Right, when she found him at first, but unfortunately his body washes up and can confirm Tyson's dead.
Right, because it's like classic TV thing. She's like, oh, he wasn't, like, she finally is like, oh wow, he probably isn't dead. And then, so of course we end the episode, find his body.
Right. And then the third episode, kind of in this series of episodes, kind of deals with the fallout of that, the funeral that happens, and Tyson's mom trying to cut any and all ties with Darnell, basically, because, I mean, in no uncertain terms, he got her son killed.
Yeah.
And Tyson was a really bright guy and was going places, and the third episode was a lot of flashbacks with him and Murphy.
There's like video. It's like a running.
Right, because he got a new phone and he recorded a bunch of videos.
Yeah.
With them, and they're really sweet and sad and wonderful. And Murphy goes to the funeral and makes a scene because she's
gotta make a scene always.
Mm-hmm. And gets herself tossed out. Mm-hmm.
She is just. I don't know. I was just like, it is a funeral. I feel like there are certain situations where you're like, okay, I'm gonna try, like, a little bit change my behavior going into this situation.
Maybe not. And then we see a flashback of Tyson taking Murphy to this lake and trying to get her to swim. And of course, Murphy doesn't want to. I mean, maybe she doesn't know how to swim. I don't know. But also,
I think
blind.
She says she doesn't.
I think so too. Yeah. Also, it can be scary for someone who can't see to just kind of go out into a body of water.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's
and
super.
She says she can't swim, so it feels very scary.
But the payoff to all of this is another lovely scene between Jess and Murphy. And Tyson's mother has given Murphy some of Tyson's ashes, and they decide to go to the lake to release them.
Yeah.
And she gets in the water and swims, and this is when my trope alert was like, rah, rah,
yeah,
because this is the whole like baptism. She's washed clean. She's washed clean of all of the things that she did, and now she's going to. Now we're going to see her go up. This is going to be her slowly getting better, because this is also the episode where she tries to have sex with the guy in the bar and can't do it.
Yeah.
So
she's like truly disassociating in that scene. It was really, I was concerned. I was like, sweetie, like, we need to get help.
Yeah,
like, I was just wanting to give her a hug. Like, that was like really, like, I don't know. It was really
scary.
hard. Yeah. Like she truly was dissociate. Luckily, the guy left. He seemed like a fucking asshole.
Thank God. I was like, oh my God, no, because I don't want to watch Murphy get taken advantage of. I don't want to watch that. Yeah, no, luckily he had the decency to like peace out.
Yeah, which was honestly surprising to me. I was like, well, I'd much rather watch this. It still doesn't feel real, but it's fine. I'd rather watch it, so I'm not going to totally complain. I don't want to watch her getting raped. That'd be horrible.
No. Yeah, no, don't want that. Do not want.
But even without that, I was still just like really concerned for her. Like she's just like completely dissociated, and it's like during the time of the funeral. And yeah, it is really like, it is sad. I wish she could like grieve with someone. Maybe that would help her. Moving on isn't necessarily the right thing right now, because she really wants to solve this mystery. And of course, as a viewer, I really want to solve the mystery, but man, grieving would be nice. Truly grieving. Yeah.
Which I think going to the lake, I think that's part of it. That's how she was her way of grieving. To do that, and to be in the water, to be in a place that Tyson loved so much, that made him so happy, and finally she experienced it.
Right. Yeah, the baptism thing, that's good. Wouldn't occur to me in a million years.
Oh, that one is one that I see all of the time in TV and movies. Like that's a whole thing. That
connection makes perfect sense. Just in an atheist Jewish household, I think I just missed certain.
That would
It just doesn't ring that kind of association bell with me.
I bet you dollars to donuts.
No, you're probably right.
We see Murphy like go up from this point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also like having some aspect of closure, because I think part of it was like, and here, this is another scene I picked out that we can watch. Yay. Is at the beginning of this episode that we're talking about, where they're searching the alleyway where Murphy found Tyson's body originally, and so she's going to smoke a cigarette with Jess, and there's the cops there, and so Jess is like, hey, there's cops here. And she just keeps walking, and that's the beginning of the clip.
I'm just gonna smoke a cigarette.
You're gonna have to smoke someplace else. This is a crime scene.
Murphy nods.
Now it's a crime scene? Maybe if it was a crime scene a few weeks ago, my friend would still be alive.
Ma'am, I really need you to turn around.
And I really need to have a cigarette. Okay? Go! What? Easy. Don't touch me! Okay, I'm sorry, Officer Murphy. Let's just go. No. This is where I smoke, and I'm smoking. Go, Principal.
The officer grabs her.
Come on! Sir, she has a guide dog. Let go of me! She can't see, sir. Sir, she can't.
He puts Murphy in a police car.
He's taking her! Sir, stop it! She can't see!
Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah, that's something that just... Oh my God,
I was like
traumatizing.
Actually crying during that scene. That was like, yeah, that's really hard.
I am honestly worried that's something that is going to happen to me. Because of my disability. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't been out to any of the protests, honestly, is because I'm so petrified that
and that does happen. Like that happens all the time. Yeah. And a lot of times there's a Jess there. Like that happens with a Jess being there doing exactly what Jess was doing, which is like, that scene just felt so real to me, which is part of what was so like upsetting about it. Is like just Jess's reaction in that scene was like, oh my God, that's like a real thing that happened.
Right. And Jess wasn't trying to, Jess was trying to de-escalate the situation.
Yeah.
She tried to keep Murphy away. And keep the two parties away. But Murphy is fucking stubborn. So, but she makes a great point. This was a crime scene weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where were you?
I mean, in that scene, even though she could have just been like, oh, fine. I mean, I kind of was like, I'm with her for 99% of that scene.
Definitely.
Because it was true that like the police didn't do anything, and like she has every right to be furious. And the fact that they now care would really trigger me in that situation. I would be mad. And I think even though like I, probably am more scared of the cops to not yell at them directly because I'd be too scared to do that. Like, it also, I'm not going to blame anyone who does do it.
I mean, and then the officer just grabs her, and
I'm like, and that's like real.
that's absolutely terrifying.
And it felt like that's a thing that happens. Like it wasn't just like, that's not movie logic, then it's just the reality of what would happen in that situation.
We
it's
are not
so traumatizing.
Yeah, and we are not all lucky enough to have an Officer Dean on the inside who can just be like, oh, gets all the charges dropped.
Yeah. Right. Totally.
For a lot of people that this happens to, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no prettier way to say it. You're done.
Yeah. I was like looking up before stuff about like blindness in like prison, and because I was like I know less about prison than police brutality stuff, and I was just like to talk about it, then I was like, oh god, it's horrible. It's so horrible, and it's hard to talk about in some ways, because I think part of it is also like this is already an issue where a lot of people feel like there should be more attention to it, but like some of it is getting attention now, and it does still feel like disabled people have been left out of the conversations somehow still. And so it's just like especially upsetting. Like, I don't know. It's hard. It's just very hard. And it's just the fact that wasn't movie logic. Like, even though that was extreme drama, that is like the kind of extreme drama that happens in the real world. And
I mean, and to think that he just basically took her away. It just carted her off and arrested her.
Right. For
just being stubborn,
for being upset, for being she's also like grieving.
Yes.
I think there's also like that, like the fact that the police are so untrained in like mental health.
I mean, he could have left her there and let her smoke. I mean, what is the worst thing that she could have done? She just wanted to be there in her safe space, because this was one of her safe spaces.
Yeah.
And smoke.
Yeah, he could have just been like, I understand this is a crime scene. Can I talk to you over here? Because I understand that this is like why you're feeling upset right now.
Exactly. Like, here you can't be in this particular area because, we need to collect evidence. But maybe you could stand over here, or
I'll have a cigarette with you,
Right, when we can talk about it.
Yeah. Like showing like I'm here, and also like seeing like, listening to Jess saying she's blind.
Right, she can't
like,
see.
And saying like this is, and giving that like a combination of those things being totally the benefit of the doubt that she's not aware where the boundaries are of this crime scene.
Well, and you would think, oh my God, doesn't he notice her? Like, she has a guide dog. She's walking with Jess. I can't remember if she had her cane in that scene, but she has
Pretzel.
Yeah, but she has Pretzel. You would think, oh, wouldn't you notice that's a blind person?
The cops wouldn't.
Not only that, but I have just had people I have with my cane out, doing my thing or whatever. People do not notice. You would be surprised.
And if you want a group of people that are the least likely to notice, police officers, 100%. I don't know of anyone who's the more likely to just be completely ignorant to having a cane than a police officer. Like, they do not give a fuck. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it is definitely, there's a lot of stories of people being.
That was a good scene to pick out, though.
Yeah.
I think I didn't want to think about it, so my brain just completely went and glazed over the fact that it happened.
It was one of those things where I was just like, yeah, we should talk about this, but it's very hard to watch, and makes sense to to selectively have amnesia about it, because it was very real, very hard.
But we get that lovely scene at the lake afterwards, so. Yeah, that's nice. Or after Dean bails her out. But yeah.
But I also, in a weird way, I liked, I think the dynamics between Jess and Murphy in that scene was another one where I really kind of liked that, because it felt not only real, but like it felt like both of them were doing nothing to create a bad situation, and there wasn't I think also for Jess to have the experience of feeling that powerlessness, and I feel like you wind up getting trauma bonded to people in situations like that.
I think Jess has had not that experience, but I think she probably has. Being it doesn't sound like being gay in her family was the greatest thing. Right. So I'm sure she's had
experiences in her own life, but also understanding how that can manifest as a blind person, having that trauma, but then also not going. It's just that feeling of she was there and she wasn't able to do anything. And it's it is kind of that getting to feel that helplessness that disabled people feel, as a friendship, like as a showing of love, to like be like, I'm gonna defend you even in a situation where it's not working, but I'm still gonna just try so hard. And I think that feels good because it's also like, just because the power is not coming from their relationship, like the power isn't in their relationship, they're both powerless, which I know is like not great to like have an oppressor. Like, it is trauma bonding, that is what trauma bonding would be, but you know, it is kind of nice to see it as like them as a team. It's, you know, it's kind of an us against the world thing in a weird way, but just that it's not like Jess is just being Saint Jess and Murphy is just being like the teenage, like rebellious, like a rebellious bratty teenager at all times. You know, it's that feeling of like systemic oppression. Both of them are like traumatized by the situation, which, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that was pretty, it's hard to watch.
That was hard. Yeah, that was a very harrowing moment.
Definitely. Yeah, so I was like, I feel like we're going to wind up ending it on that note, which is probably not the most fun note to end on.
We already talked about the lake. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Should have. I guess we were just putting it off till the very end.
That's all right. But
yeah, there's so much to talk about. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the show.
I'm still, you know, I'm still on board. I still want to know what happens to these characters. They've written a pretty good mystery, I must say.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, I have my suspicions about people, but I feel like, I don't know, this might be too obvious. The writers might maybe want you to point in that direction.
Oh yeah, who do we think? I think it's the dad, who's like a red herring.
Oh, see, I didn't know what to think about the dad because he was just kind of thrown in there and he's so new.
Yeah, but that's a great red herring character.
Yeah, but we now know that Tyson was like dealing drugs on both sides with two different groups. So I think it might have been the flower shop group that got
killed him.
Because at first I was like, oh, obviously Darnell has something to do with this. I don't think Darnell killed him.
Right.
He definitely has something to do with this. But now, I don't know. I think it's the flower shop gang.
Though, isn't that what they want you to think? Like, it should be some force that isn't the gangs, because that would make way more sense.
Yeah, but I think they wanted you to think it was Darnell, and I don't think it's Darnell.
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, you're unlikely to kill your own cousin. Like, it's just,
sure,
I think it always seemed like he just knew a lot more than he was letting on.
Well, what about this new basket case that's kind of been introduced, Wesley? We know that Wesley kills and is a killer because he killed the flower shop guy.
Yeah.
So.
And there's a connection. No, because it's just that Murphy's able to identify him by his voice. And so, but the connection is a closed loop, and the flower shop, the guy who kills the dude in the flower shop is Wesley because she recognizes his voice. But he's not like that voice isn't anywhere other than those two like situation, you know, like it's not like it connects him to any other murders or anything. But
who knows?
I don't know. I'm gonna say the dad.
We're gonna find out.
We have to, like, every episode we have to have a theory. So I've decided this time it's the dad, because like you don't expect it to be the dad, but we don't know what's up with him.
Yeah, we know next to nothing about him.
Yeah, but he didn't tell Murphy that, like, he lied to Murphy. He's weirdly cagey, so I don't know. Like, and they kind of give a justification on why he was being cagey, but it's not a good one. It's just like he's like, I can't trust you. I think you must have murdered my son, which I don't know. Maybe he's guilty. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's kind of subtly. It could be a subtle clue, but yeah. What is your prediction? We just do one every episode.
Oh, let's see. I mean, you made a pretty good case for the dad. That was impressive. I'm gonna go with the flower shop gang. I mean, obviously it wasn't the leader of the flower shop gang because he's dead, but I think the other side got angry that he was selling drugs for two people, and they took it out on him.
Okay.
Yeah.
The guy we meet in the flower shop is very adorable.
He looks like the person this guy would never sell drugs, and he would never make this flower shop up front, and he totally does.
It is very funny.
He looks like the guy in college who, if he was going to sell drugs, he'd be the dude who you'd get Adderall from.
Yes.
Like he's totally keeping half for himself.
Exactly.
And then like selling the other half.
Yes,
yeah.
he is definitely the kid
you want,
Adderall
you want
from.
oxycodone? You visit
That's not
that
him.
guy.
No,
that's not him.
Oxys.
Okay,
no,
sorry.
he's not the Oxy guy.
Not the okay, fine. Okay, back to you.
The Oxy guy is Max. Max is where you buy the Oxy.
Okay. So you want Adderall? You go to the flower shop.
You are
flower shop guy.
100% right though. He's definitely the kid who was like selling some of his own Adderall, but he also takes it, obviously.
Yeah.
That's definitely who he is. But you do. I don't know. I found him endearing, and just also as a character, he does have like a very baby face, so you're just like. Not very menacing, but yeah. Do we want to do our blindness cutie test? Is that what we have next?
Sure, yeah, we could do that next.
Mm-hmm. Unless we want to make it better. I mean, it's a TV show. I still think just it would be fun to watch a show where Jess was the blind one, but that's just curious.
I
don't
not like that idea. Like that's
fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Golly, and and I'd listened to our previous In the Dark episode, and I don't remember what my acuity rating was.
I don't remember.
I don't think it's necessarily gone up or down. to be honest, I mean.
Well, do you want to? If you can't remember what it is, do you want to give a rating right now? We'll see if it went up or down.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I would say. I'm still sitting at like a 2,500. I think. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So pretty blind.
Yeah, fairly blind. Yeah, that is because the show is helped by having the blind people behind the scenes and having a consultant on set. I think her eye lines are getting better.
Yeah, at the beginning
I actually noticed.
At the beginning of the 4th episode, I'm like, does she even know she's blind? And then like the rest of the episodes we watched, I was like, okay, she's getting the hang of it.
Yeah. I definitely think and I think. I mean, look at how much this show has given us to talk about. Yeah. I think that says something. I think that reflects in my rating as well. Like, oh, look at all these experiences that we've had that we can relate to.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen a new show with a character that I'm like, oh my God, I've been in that exact situation.
This
is how I felt. Yeah.
Right.
So
all the times you were at a buffet and just somehow got food all over your clothes
and whapped my douchey boyfriend with a spoon.
Yes.
Yeah. That happens all the time. Yeah. That's a Saturday night for me.
Yeah.
But I think I think that's why my rating stays so high. Even though I think Murphy can come off as a garbage person.
Yes.
I like her. I still like hanging out with her. And I mean, my God, any excuse to be in the presence of Saint Jess is fine with me.
Yeah. She is a saint.
Mm-hmm. And the mysteries. Sorry, and the mystery is compelling.
Yeah,
I actually care a lot about not just Murphy, but about the side characters that we are meeting. Anyway, so 2,500.
Nice. I'm gonna give it a 2,200. I feel like it makes the mark of like the area you're supposed to be within. But yeah, I mean, I think that some of it is played up way too much for TV, and like I do think that like ableism is a very compelling narrative device, and I don't really think you need to make a disabled character like that self-destructive to make it. I think it still is very engaging, even if the word we were the most emotionally affected of all the 3 episodes by that scene with the police, and that's the one thing that's like truly could actually happen, like that is truly like it's not made like more extreme for TV. And so like the fact that so much of the time you're like you're not as emotionally affected by things like when she's fucking things up, but it is very emotionally affecting to see the world like do oppressive stuff. And so I think that like the idea that you need her to fuck up for conflict in the show is ridiculous. But I do think it is like a TV kind of requirement, like, you know, that it's just like they probably can't make this show unless they do that. Like, it is just a very industry standard thing, and I think that's sad. So I do wish she had a little bit more capableness, and that we were seeing more of her coming up against the world than we were of her making things harder for everyone. But I do think you're right that, like, there are a lot of stuff where it is situations that you relate to. I always imagine just like a bunch of like cue cards where you just were just like actual blind people, like, oh, this thing that I get frustrated with, this is the thing that, you know, it's hard for me, this, you know, and you constantly like, oh, look, it's the thing on the whiteboard that the blind person wrote, and that's fun. And like, and I do enjoy that aspect of it.
I guess it's just getting to feel getting to feel seen. It makes no pun intended. Pardon the pun. But it makes me feel happy and relevant, and it's just, oh my God, I'm not the only person who went through this situation. But I agree, you know, with everything you said. I mean, it's a lot of it is heightened for TV. Yeah.
And I mean, I think it would be more dramatic if you made ableism more the villain, you know, more the source of all the problems. I feel like that would actually just be more dramatic. So I'm also like, it doesn't even really make sense to make her be the problem, but I don't know, whatever. I am interested to see, how the mystery unfolds, and even more than that, I am interested to see how Murphy like changes as a character, and I'm like interested to see how like potentially we get more of a window into her psychology historically, since we don't totally. I mean, I think a lot of the stuff we know about her has happened within the timeline of the show, and so we've gotten very little information about her before the show started, other than like her relationship with Tyson. We get stuff about that, but like we don't get that much into what's going on with her. Like, it's way more to be about Tyson than it is to be about her. So I'm excited to better understand her before the show and like things that have happened. And I imagine they'll probably do some. I mean, maybe we'll just get little bits of. I mean, we are 6 episodes in, so we might only get like a little bit here and there. But I am excited to find out.
Yeah. And I checked. The first season has 13 episodes.
Yes. So
we've got a ways to go.
I'm thinking maybe for the next one, which it's gonna be hard. So I don't know. We'll talk about it. But I was thinking we could do 4, so that we're not having to do the final 4 as a 4.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I was like, oh no, it'll be wrong. The math is wrong.
Yeah, we have to do one extra at some point. But I think maybe, like, I don't know, usually I feel like it's that part in a season where things sometimes can slow down, you know, like things, because it's kind of in a middle-ish time, and they're saving all the real good stuff for the finale. So I don't know, we'll try. Maybe it will be a disaster, and we'll just have a 40-hour episode.
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Either way.
Awesome. So that's
way to go.
In the Dark.
4, 5, and 6.
Yes. What, Melissa? Are we doing next week?
Yes. So next week was my week, and with the help of your dad,
thanks, Dad.
we are watching Places in the Heart.
Yes, because it is the movie that was like a cliffhanger from quite a few episodes ago.
Yes, it was in fact the movie starring John Malkovich that Peter Capaldi must have been referring to when we had our conversation.
Right. And go back to like, I don't know, probably like 8 episodes ago.
Oh my Lord. Yeah, I don't remember when I told that story. But yeah, we are pretty sure that this was the movie.
Yeah, my dad says it definitely was, so
good.
Thanks, Scott McCloud.
Yay. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Sky's dad and Peter Capaldi.
Yes, there you go.
So yeah, we're watching Places in the Heart next week, and we are going to try and watch it on Pluto TV because that's free, but you can rent it on any of your standard streaming places.
Yes. Awesome. And what is our blind recommendation for the week?
Oh, right.
I'll go first.
Yes.
Because that's the new way we're doing it. I think this may be the last one of my it's not a trilogy because there's 4, but my run of time travel things. But I am bringing the Umbrella Academy Netflix show.
Ooh, yes.
Which has been a lot of fun. The second season dropped somewhat recently, I think about a month ago when this comes out. But I had watched the first season before the second season came out. But it's based on the Gerard Way books, comic books, and it is just a very like it is sort of comic booky, but it's just
I mean, it's not to take your thunder, but it's weird is one of the best ways to describe it. It's weird.
I know, I'm so bad at explaining things, and I'm like, and then I'm realizing, oh no, this is a thing it is also hard to explain.
I've read the comics and I watched a couple of episodes of the first season, and it's not that I didn't like it. It just, the Umbrella Academy is weird. And it seemed so dense, and I was just like, I don't know if I have time for this right now. But I want to come back.
I'm glad
really
you
do.
said that, because I had a similar I didn't read the comics because I'm sorry, Dad, but it hurts my eyes.
The first, they're visually they're cool looking, but they're really hard to read.
Yeah.
The first one's great. I did not like the second one very much. But
okay.
Anyway.
We'll have to talk after about how different they are, because I've only now seen almost all of the show, but read none of the comics. But I do think it does pick up like a lot after the first few episodes, because it is like it does have a big burden of explaining a pretty complicated scenario. And I think that anytime you have a show that is like such like low concept, is that what you call it, like when it's like very, there's just a lot of moving parts going on, that like you have to do a lot of the legwork at the beginning of just kind of the boring stuff of like, oh, okay, there's a family, they're all adopted, their dad is a weird scientist guy, we don't really know what's going on with him and his whole deal, and then they're all numbered, and then there's time travel now, and there's someone's dead. I don't know, it's a lot going on.
It is insane. The plot of this show is just crazy, and I feel like the first comic was really good and very easy to follow, even though it had sort of the wibbly wobbly stuff in it. But the second one is all time travel. Like, that is the whole thing. It's this crazy weird time travel story, and I just got really confused.
Is it in the 60s? We're gonna have to talk about it,
because it's in the 60s.
I think they probably do the seasons by the
this one has to do with, the second comic is called Dallas, so
that's they're doing them by season, then the one comic to a season, because that's what the second season's about. It is funny. I feel like I've had a little bit easier of time following the second season, so I don't know why that is. That's funny. But I do think that, like, I mean, there is definitely, with the time, once you have time travel, it just gets really complicated. But I don't know. I've appreciated it as just like an adventure ride, and I think that, like, to some extent, there's a little bit of, like, suspending disbelief where you have to be like, okay, I don't fully understand how the mechanics of this work, which is, like, with time travel, very hard to, like, because it makes no sense. Time travel does not make any logical sense, so to create logic around it is a tall order, and I don't think anyone can truly do it, because it just doesn't make sense. So it is, I think there's always like a little bit of a gap of how with time travel you have to suspend your disbelief even more than you normally would, just to make it work. But yeah, so there's some things in the first season where I was like, how would the mechanics of this work? Whereas I feel like with this season it's been a little bit more, I don't know, like it's focused a little bit more on certain things, and because the time travel is, they're like kind of, there's a little bit less hopping around, I think that has helped to ground it for me. But I don't know, it's just like it is just a fun like roller coaster ride show, and very good for like when you're just trying to binge shows all the time, which is what I'm doing. And just like, because you kind of, I don't know, you get invested, and you also like really, it's another role where you're like, whoa, how are they gonna get out of this shit? Like, how do they make this work? And like that, I don't know, I don't always get that, and it does make me feel that way. So I think that's something good about it, is that I am truly like, I want to know how they figure this out. But yeah, so that's the Umbrella Academy. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original series. I don't know if it's on anything else, but check it out.
Oh gosh. Okay, so mine is actually also a TV show as well, because great minds
Yes.
think alike. But mine is on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. So when we were having our little pre-podcast discussion, we were talking a lot about Star Trek, and the show Star Trek Lower Decks premiered 3 weeks ago. So there's 3 episodes out on. You can catch this on CBS All Access, but you can watch the first episode for free. It's on YouTube.
Well, aired 5 weeks ago.
Is it? Yeah, 5 weeks ago. Sorry. Anyway,
No, it's okay.
Speaking of timelines,
Yeah, exactly.
So this is the animated adventures of Ensign Brad Boimler, and all of a couple of other ensigns in this little kind of, gang isn't the right word, but like group of characters that we follow. So the whole hook of the show is it is the adventures of the crew on the lower decks. So this is not focusing on the bridge crew, the captain, the doctor, the security officer, second in command, all of the usual suspects. We're not dealing with them. We're dealing with everybody else who has to, run routine maintenance checks on doors.
The red shirts?
Not necessarily the red shirts. No, there's. I'm sure we're gonna lose a couple of red shirts, but no, this is
Just the only red shirt show.
that's
like Game of Thrones.
That's